Hey guys, and welcome to today's video. If you are sitting your management case study next, this is the video for you. Yes, if you are a SEMA student sitting your management case study exam in either May 2024 or August 2024, as you can see by the title, this video is where I'm going to read your pre-scene to you. Yes, our pre-scene company is Flatthall, and in today's video, I'm going to read you the pre-scene. By this, I do just mean I am reading you the pre-scene. I've realised a lot of students learn in lots of different ways. And if it was me, I know I watch a lot of YouTube videos to learn and soak in knowledge and learn information. So what this video is me reading the pre-scene. I know you have the pre-scene and we're going to follow along on the screen so that you can see it, hear it and take it in lots of different ways, because I know lots of students learn in lots of different ways. So you can use this video when you're not at your screen. You can use it out for your walk if you want to. Listen and soak in the pre-scene in lots of different ways. Obviously, you can read the pre-scene. You can get it printed. You can read the PDF like I'm going to. But I want you to have lots of opportunities that give you a little bit of fun revision as well. And listening and hearing someone speak through the pre-scene really will help you. And it's helped lots of my students in the past. So I wanted to record the Flatthall pre-scene reading for you today. If you would like to know what I think, because this is a great pre-scene, I have a lot of thoughts. I've written post-its all over the place. I've written 6 pages of notes of what I think for my students, what I think I want you to focus on, what I think is going to come up in the exam, what technical information, technical models that I think I would like you to focus on. If you would like to know what I think and my analysis of the pre-scene, you can do 2 things. One, head over to my LinkedIn channel, where I will be discussing what I think and giving you some helpful revision tips and tricks. And 2, you can come and join my management case study course as well if you want to get some bespoke one-to-one coaching, pre-scene specific brainstorming, and lots of Helen-focused coaching to give you the best revision start for your management case study, to give you the exam day strategy for this management case study exam day. I'd love to coach and support you, help you along your way, help you soak up the Flatthall pre-scene and become the finance manager that you need to, about what to do, what to think, how to write as the finance manager at Flatthall. If you would like some Helen coaching, the link is also in the comments below. All you have to do is have a look and you can check that out. I really am obsessed as a coach when it comes to the case study exams, and this one is no different. I've been a finance manager for over 10 years since I qualified. I'm SEMA qualified, and I want to get you your plaque up on the wall too. You're over halfway through your SEMA qualification, and I'd love to help and coach you with your management case study. So check out those resources if you want them, and I'd love to coach you. But right now, I'm going to be reading the pre-scene for you. Follow along, soak it in, take your notes for sure. Listen more than once. You may want to save this video. And know that I'm here to help and support you. If you have any questions, please let me know. And enjoy the pre-scene reading. Thanks, guys. Like I said, we are reading the pre-scene, so let's get ready. Are you ready? Grab your notebook and here we go. So welcome to the management case study exam pre-scene material for May 2024 and August 2024 sittings. I'm going to scroll down. Obviously on page 2, you have a contents page and we start with the introduction on page 2. Flatthall is a quoted company that owns and operates 174 residential buildings that are located in towns and cities in its home country of Thailand. These buildings are subdivided into flats that are rented to full-time students in nearby colleges and universities. Thailand's currency is the T-dollar. Thailandian company law requires companies to prepare their financial statements in accordance with International Financial Reporting Standards, IFRS. You are the financial manager at Flatthall's head office. Your primary responsibilities are associated with management accounting, and you report to Susanna Leong, Senior Financial Manager, who reports directly to the Finance Director. Page 2, we talk about the post-school education in Thailand. Thailand has a well-developed higher educational system with 215 colleges and universities, also known as institutions, that provide 3-year courses leading to undergraduate degrees. There is a healthy demand for places at these institutions. A large proportion of Townlandians complete a college or university qualification after leaving school. The Townlandian government subsidises course fees, and full-time students can apply for financial support in the form of student loans that need not to be repaid until after graduation. Townland has a strong international reputation for further and higher education. The country attracts large numbers of overseas students who believe that they will benefit from studying at a Townlandian university. We have a graph showing the difference of full-time students who are overseas students or home students, Townlandian students. You can see the split here on the graph. Please refer to that and have a little idea that the fact that it is growing. It's growing more for Townlandian than it is for overseas, but there is a fixed, solid proportion for overseas students. Also on page 3, in the academic year 2022/2023, Townland had 2.1 million home students and a further 0.6 million overseas students. Institutions are keen to fill all available spaces. Townland's government subsidises places for home students. Institutions receive student fees and government subsidies totaling $8,000 each year in respect of each home student. The government sets the maximum number of subsidised student places for each institution. Institutions face an opportunity cost if any of those places are left unfilled. Going on to page 4. Institutions can accept as many overseas students as they wish. They are free to charge as much as they wish for overseas student fees. Overseas student fees vary from $12,000 to $30,000 each year, depending on demand for places. Applicant numbers vary according to the reputation of different institutions and also the popularity of different subjects. Institutions are keen to attract overseas students because of their high fees and because overseas admissions do not count towards the government allocation of places. Most institutions have sufficient capacity to accept all suitably qualified overseas applications. The Townland's academic year is structured as follows. We have the first semester, September to December, the second semester, January to April, and the summer vacation period, which is May to August. In the first semester, September to December, we have inductions for new students, we have tuition for first semester classes, and we have first semester examinations. In the second semester, January to April, we have tuition for second semester classes and second semester examinations. In the summer vacation, which is May to August, we have graduation for final year students, resit examinations if applicable, and we have processing applications for new students. Townland's academic year starts in September and ends in May. Students who successfully complete all assessments, including exams and coursework, are free to take a break from their studies during the summer vacation. Institutions promote themselves to potential students throughout the academic year. Applications for admission during the following academic year are processed during the second semester and the summer vacation. Successful applicants who accept a place must pay their first year's tuition fee before joining their course. Going on to page 5 about student accommodation. Institutions are usually located in towns or cities, some close to a town or a city centre and others on the outskirts. Students must attend classes and so require accommodation that is within easily commuting distance. Approximately 40% of the home students continue to live in their parental homes for the duration of their studies. The remainder seek alternative accommodation, at least during the first and second semesters of each academic year of their courses, when they are required to attend classes and sit examinations. Some home students accept places at institutions that are too far from home for them to travel on a daily basis. Others choose not to live in their family home because they wish to live independently. Overseas students must arrange suitable accommodation for the duration of the first and the second semesters of each academic year of the course. Most students who require accommodation do so by renting suitable accommodation for the academic year, taking residence in September before classes start and leaving after their examinations in April. Many home students return to their family homes for the summer vacation, or they take the opportunity to travel. Most overseas students return to their home countries to spend the summer vacation with their families. Student rental agreements usually terminate at the end of the second semester. Students who wish to remain close to their institutions during the summer vacation will often have to move to alternative accommodation for that period. Student accommodation can take Student accommodation can take a number of forms: 1, halls of residence; 2, private rentals; and 3, PBSA, purpose-built student accommodation. Just as a bit of a spoiler, Flatthall only currently provides PBSAs. Make note of these things. There is a graph on page 5 which shows you the student accommodation by student numbers for 2022 and 2023. The private rental has a 51% share, halls of residence have a 33% share, and PBSAs have a 16% share. Again, that's the share of student accommodation by student numbers. Number 6, in our market research, market analysis piece of the pre-scene, we have types, so halls of residence. Most institutions have their own student accommodation that is available for rent. This is often situated on campus, or it may be on a separate site that is within convenient travelling distance. Students staying in halls are usually provided with a single furnished room with a bed, a desk, and storage space. Students share bathrooms and kitchens. The accommodation is basic, but students are reassured by the fact that they are renting from their college or university. Demand for places in halls usually exceeds the number of available places. Many institutions give first-year students priority in booking places in halls. Type number 2 is your private rental. Most large towns and cities have several colleges and universities, and there is a constant demand for student accommodation. Some landlords specialise in the student rental market, preferring to rent flats to students rather than to more permanent tenants. Many cities have student areas that comprise residential areas that have a substantial student population during the academic year. Private rentals usually consist of flats with up to 3 furnished bedrooms. These flats are typically occupied by several students at once, with each contributing a share of the rent. These students may be friends who set out to rent a flat together, or they may simply have agreed to rent a flat as a group. Students will have their own rooms and will share the flat's kitchen, bathroom, and living room. Most institutions offer a student accommodation service that can assist students to find private accommodation. Landlords can publicise the availability of their private rental properties, and students can advertise for flatmates who wish to share the rent of the flat. Accommodation services also advise students on practical matters such as checking the terms in a rental agreement and assist with legal matters such as managing disputes with landlords. Toland has very strict health and safety laws in place in relation to private rentals, particularly when properties are rented by more than 2 tenants. Gas and water supplies must be checked regularly, and fire alarms and other safety devices must be present and operational. Safety checks are also required for any portable electrical equipment such as fridges. Private rentals are often more expensive than places in halls of residence, but they usually offer larger rooms than are available in halls. They are also more likely to be located in areas where students socialise. The next group, which is very important, guys, on page 7, PBSAs, purpose-built student accommodation. PBSAs is a relatively recent development in the market for student accommodation. Commercial organisations construct buildings that are specifically designed for the student market. Typically, most of the floors in each building are subdivided into a large number of flats. Each flat consists of a communal living space and 6 to 8 single bedrooms. The communal spaces are equipped for students to cook and eat their meals and to socialise. The bedrooms provide private spaces where students can sleep and study. PBSA operators are independent of the institutions whose students they wish to attract. They do, however, have complementary activities. PBSA operators seek to attract students from institutions close to their buildings. Institutions use the availability of nearby accommodation to attract students to their courses. Overseas students are particularly interested in the availability of suitable accommodation because they will be moving to a foreign because they will be moving to a foreign city that they might not have visited before the start of their courses. Institutions' websites often refer to the availability of good quality accommodation close to campuses and may provide links to the website of PBSAs in the vicinity. PBSA's websites may list the institutions that are within, say, a 20-minute walk from each of the buildings. PBSA buildings are generally as secure as halls of residences and are likely to be more secure than private rentals. Entrances are staffed by concierges working in shifts on a 24/7 basis. The concierge checks the credentials of everyone who enters their building. They also monitor feeds from security cameras and safety systems such as fire alarms. PBSAs employ cleaning staff to keep the public area of their buildings clean and tidy. They also employ local contractors to maintain the buildings, both public spaces and the flats. PBSA buildings offer facilities that make them attractive to students. All offer high-speed internet access with strong Wi-Fi signals throughout the buildings. That is vital because students must be able to access social media, course materials, and emails. Buildings can also offer amenities such as media rooms in which groups of residents can watch movies or sports events on a large screen with high-quality sound. Government planning regulations restrict rentals of rooms in PBSA students Government planning regulations restrict rentals of rooms in PBSA buildings to students. Operators are not permitted to rent rooms in PBSA buildings to non-students. PBSA buildings are genuinely built within easy walking distance of at least one institution and possibly several. Some cities have a number of institutions located in and around their cities, and so there may be several PBSA buildings within a relatively small area of any given town or city, with operators competing for tenants. Some institutions are on the outskirts of towns and cities and may be served by PBSA buildings that are effectively dedicated to those institutions. PBSA buildings in towns and cities are generally high-rise. These are attractive to operators because they can accommodate a large number of tenants within a given footprint. That's page 7. And on page 8, we have a look at Flatthalls. There's a graph, but also there's a very important point. Flatthall built Towland's first PBSA building in 1995. Now there are 10 major PBSA operators in Townland. You can see the graph shows you the top 10 PBSA operators in Townland from 2022 to 2023, the number of students, and the 10 operators. We can see that Flatthall is number 1 with around 80,000 number of students. Duvet is the second competitor in Townland. Also on page 8, we have some more information. These companies collectively provide accommodation for 16% of those students who did not live with their parents during the first and the second semesters of the academic year. It can be difficult to compare halls of residences, private rentals and PBSAs since, number 1, rents charged for halls of residences and PBSAs usually include utilities such as electricity and internet connections. Private rentals usually require students to pay separately for these utilities. Number 2, halls of residence are cheaper than private rentals and PBSA. Places in halls are genuinely filled long before the start of the academic year. Students are attracted by the convenience of living on or close to the campus. Halls of residence are also genuinely, I can't say that word, can I? I'm so sorry. Halls of residence are also generally safe and secure with security wardens on site. Number 3, PBSA is more expensive than halls of residence or private rentals, even after taking the cost of utilities into account. The buildings are usually more modern and better equipped than halls of residence. They are usually located close to the campus. PBSA buildings are also safe and secure spaces. PBSA operators usually work to maintain good relationships with institutional student accommodation services, and that can prove that reassuring in the event of a dispute with an operator because students can threaten to involve their institutions. Number 4, private rentals vary significantly in quality. Properties may be old and may have been converted from family homes into living spaces for occupation by small groups of students. Some landlords are greedy and unwilling to invest in maintaining their properties. Town landing law requires landlords to meet basic safety regulations, but private rental properties are unlikely ever to be as safe and secure as halls of residence or PBSA buildings. Number 5, students generally arrange accommodation for the forthcoming academic year during the summer vacation. Places in halls of residence and the PBSA are usually taken first. Many students are forced to take places in private rentals because all alternatives are taken, though some students prefer private rentals because they wish to share with friends, or they may have jobs to fund their studies and wish to live closer. I'm going to pause there, guys, and I encourage you to pause there. At the end of page 8, well, at the start of page 9, that's the market analysis. That's what's happened in the market to give you a little bit of flavour of what's happening or what's happened, and to give you an intro in the market if it's new to you. I'm going to pause there. And because I want this to be 2 sections. This was the market analysis, and section 2 is going to be about Flatthall. In my professional opinion, and as a coach, the Flatthall piece is much more important, but hopefully you've got a flavour of what the options are, what could happen, what we could be interested in or be doing. But this second section from page 9 to page 27 is the key part. Okay, so I've separated this video into the 2 key parts to really help you. But yeah, take a pause, take a deep breath, and we'll go again for the Flatthall section. This is where you're going to write lots of notes. This is where we're going to analyse the pre-scene a lot more and focus on what we do and care about as a finance manager. Okay, so take a pause, grab a drink, and come back in a second. Are you ready, guys? Let's go. Before I start, I just want to apologise if I do pronounce anything incorrectly, and this is my interpretation of our board members' names as well. So apologies if I get any names wrong. But again, this is to help you soak in the pre-scene, and I think some of these little funny nuances will help you just remember key pages again. So hope you enjoyed it so far, and let's crack on. Let's go with learning about Flatthall. This is the piece we care about, right? We're on page 9 and the Flatthall pre-scene. Ready? Flatthall was founded in 1994 by a property developer who commissioned the design and construction of Towland's first PBSA block on a site close to Central City Metropolitan University. The building was ready for occupation in time for the start of the 1995-1996 academic year. So that's 1st of September 1995. And every room was taken within days of the commencement of trading. Flatthall built 5 further properties in Central City over the next year, and demand for places increased even further. Feedback indicated that students enjoyed the quality of the accommodation that was being offered. Flatthall's buildings were newly built and freshly decorated, making them more attractive than typical institutional halls of residence or private rental properties. The company grew steadily, adding more buildings across Towland. It now owns 174 buildings that can accommodate a total of 78,000 students. Flatthall was listed on the Towland Stock Exchange in 2002. The property developer who founded the company no longer owns any shares in the company. Flatthall competes with other PBSA providers on the basis of quality of service and promotion. There is very little difference between the rents charged by different PBSA providers. There is no need to compete by reducing rents because all places are filled well before the start of the academic year. Providers could possibly charge more, but that would lead to accusations of overcharging and could damage relationships with the student accommodation services at local institutions. Rents do vary between cities in line with local demand. For example, renting a room in a PBSA block in capital city is 20% more expensive than a similar room in central city. Now, to do with our building operations on page 9, all of Flatthall's buildings are within 20 minutes travel from at least one institution's campus based on walking distance or public transport. Flatthall pays close attention to the availability of potential sites for new buildings in towns and cities that have large student populations and will act quickly to purchase suitable sites before they can be acquired by competitors. Flatthall's buildings are also located in districts that are attractive places for students to live in. All are in areas that have low crime rates and have good access to areas where students can relax and enjoy themselves when they are not studying. The buildings themselves are designed to be safe and attractive places to live and study. Each floor is divided into several flats, each of which usually have 8 bedrooms. Each bedroom accommodates a single student and has sufficient space for a bed and a desk. Each flat has a communal area that has facilities for storing and cooking food and a lounge area. Each flat also has 3 shared bathrooms. Going on to page 10, we have a typical flat layout. 1 communal area, bedroom A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, an entry hall and a bathroom. The 3 bathrooms for flat 1. That's on page 10. On page 11, we have a floor layout. Each of the accommodation floors in Flatthall's buildings is subdivided into several flats, which allows for an efficient use of space. The following examples show the layout of an accommodation floor in one of Flatthall's buildings. This building has 6 flats on each accommodation floor and 8 bedrooms in each flat, which means that each floor can accommodate 48 students. The building has 10 floors for accommodation, which means that it can accommodate 480 students in this building. In this building, the ground floor has a reception desk and a large laundry room. There is 1 further floor at the top of the building that has a large public space that can be used for social events, including parties and cultural events such as buffet meals cooked by students from different countries. Please familiarise yourself with the layout on page 11. Buildings have fully equipped laundry rooms with automatic washing machines and dryers. These are for the exclusive use of students staying in the buildings. The machines are equipped with card readers that enable students to pay for the use of these facilities using their debit or credit cards. Flatthall's buildings are kept secure to protect residents and their property. Access is restricted by key cards. Each building has a single main entrance that can only be opened by a key card belonging to a resident or a member of staff. Students' cards can also open the doors of their flats and their own bedrooms. On page 12, each building has a team of concierges that work in shifts to ensure that at least one is on duty at any given time. Their primary role is safety and security. The concierge staff the reception desk at the building's main door, enabling them to monitor all arrivals. Apart from the security, the concierge acts as a point of contact for students. For example, students can report maintenance problems to a concierge who will then organise a repair. The concierges are responsible for enforcing rules related to residents' behaviour. Concierges will deal with unsocial behaviour such as playing loud music. Flatthall employs cleaners at each of its buildings. They clean all public areas such as the reception area and corridors. They also clean the communal areas in flats, including shower rooms and cooking areas. Students are required to keep their own rooms clean and tidy during their stay. Flatthall employs independent contractors to deal with repairs and maintenance in its buildings. The company has approved contractors covering all major trades, such as plumbing, electrical work, and decorating. Rental agreements terminate at the end of the second semester, at which each time students move out. Flatthall's buildings are vacant during the summer vacation each year. Each building is given a thorough clean during that time. The interiors of the buildings are also redecorated so that they are fresh and inviting for the students. This attention to detail is one of the factors that enables Flatthall to compete with relevant rival PBSA providers. Let's look at how promoting Flatthall on page 12. Flatthall's website enables students to search for a vacant room on the basis of location and institution. A student who is considering taking a place at, say, Granthorne University will be able to check whether there are any rooms available in the city. This website provides further information about buildings, including photographs of the public areas, the communal areas in the flats, and the bedrooms. These photographs are supplemented by video tours that enable students to experience the illusion of walking around the building. Students can reserve rooms online with an initial payment to secure their room. Reservations require evidence of an offer of a place in a nearby institution, such as a letter from a college or university. Flatthall will refund any initial payments for students whose place are withdrawn or cannot take up for some unavoidable reason. Students who fail resit exams and so cannot continue their studies, or overseas students who are unable to obtain visas to study in Thailand will usually be eligible for the refund. Most institutions organise freshers' fairs for first-year students immediately before the start of their academic year. These are used to publicise a wide range of student clubs and societies, and also commercial products such as student bank accounts. Flatthall always has a stand at each institution's fair, staffed by students who have previously rented a room from the company. Each of Flatthall's buildings has a number of open days at the end of the summer vacation after the completion of the cleaning and redecoration. Small groups of potential student residents are given guided tours under the supervision of returning students who have previously stayed in a Flatthall property. This is an opportunity to see the building and to ask questions. Going on to page 13, Flatthall pays a generous hourly rate to students who assist with freshers' fairs and guided tours. It also pays a commission to students who recommend Flatthall to friends who subsequently complete a rental agreement. The company aims to maintain an excellent relationship with students in order to encourage repeat bookings and maintain a positive reputation. Right, let's go on page 13 to Flatthall's head office. This is the juicy bit, right? The company's board of directors, senior managers, and supervisory and administration staff are all based in Flatthall's head office. And then we have the biggest groups of those services of staff. Group number 1 is the property portfolio management team. Property portfolio management. Flatthall is consistently searching for land and buildings that can be repurposed as student accommodation. Many of its buildings were constructed on city centre sites that have previously been used for offices or shops. In most cases, the original buildings were demolished and their sites were used for Flatthall's PBSA buildings. A minority of buildings were converted from offices into PBSA. Flatthall's property portfolio management team has considerable specialist expertise. There are strict statutory safety requirements governing rental properties that have multiple occupants. These include strict fire safety requirements such as the installation of fire alarm systems, which must be tested regularly, and the provision of fire exits and sprinkler systems. Planning permission can be difficult to obtain, especially when buildings will change the way in which a space in a town or city centre will be used. Flatthall has strong relationships with architects who specialise in designing buildings for sensitive sites and with the lawyers who are experienced in applying for planning permission. Flatthall must ensure that it meets all of its building regulations that were set by Townland's national government and local town and city councils. The national government is responsible for setting regulations that are primarily focused on safety. For example, PBSA buildings such as Flatthalls must meet extensive fire safety regulations, including fire alarms and emergency exits. Different categories of buildings have different regulations, but the rules for each category are the same across the country. Town and city councils are elected by their local populations. Some of those elected councillors serve on a planning committee that reviews requests to construct or modify buildings within the town or city and has the power to approve or refuse those requests. Planning committees take local priorities into account when deciding whether to approve a new building. For example, a new office building might attract additional traffic to an already congested part of its city, or its design might be out of character with the existing buildings in its proposed location. That's the property portfolio management team. That's what they do. The next team is the customer service team, and this is spread over page 13 and 14. The customer service team at Flatthall aims to provide students with excellent customer service. Flatthall aims to provide students with excellent customer service. That's why they have this team, right? Unhappy students often post negative comments on social media, and those comments can discourage potential tenants who search online for information concerning Flatthall. Students are encouraged to report any problems to their building's concierge teams or to email the customer services team at this head office. The company aims to rectify any legitimate concerns as quickly as possible and to keep students informed in that process. For example, if the oven in a flat is not working properly, then Flatthall will arrange to have it repaired or replaced within 24 hours. Concierges have a list of local contractors and are authorised to contact them directly for minor repairs. Larger problems that must be reported to customer services, who can authorise major repairs. The customer services staff have an extensive database of contractors that includes specialists in a wide variety of trades. Customer services staff also maintain good working relationships with colleges and university student accommodation services. Customer services makes regular contact with the head of student accommodation at each institution in order to check whether there are any issues that need to be addressed. If any problems are reported, then those are addressed and feedback is provided to the institution. If students report any complaints to their student accommodation services, then customer services at Flatland take particular care to ensure that the complaints are investigated and resolved as quickly as possible. Customer services are responsible for providing for Flatthall's web pages and social media posts. The third group of our staff is operations. The only full-time staff in Flatthall's residential buildings are the concierges and the cleaners. Those staff are supervised and supported remotely by the operations team. Operations deals with all human resources, HR matters, including staff appraisals, staff discipline, and appointments. Most meetings include job interviews are carried out remotely by means of video calls when necessary. When necessary, operations staff will travel to buildings to carry out checks and inspections and to meet with local staff. The operations also has an emergency contact centre that is staffed 24/7. Any member of concierge or cleaning staff can report emergencies by telephone or email. The contact centre also receives automatic reports of the fire alarms. The contact centre also ensures that the appropriate emergency services are notified of the problems, leaving the concierges free to advise and assist students. The operations staff from head office conduct regular visits to Flatthall's PBSA buildings. These involve inspections to check that buildings are being properly cleaned and maintained. Visiting staff also talk to students in order to establish whether they are satisfied with their accommodation and the quality of service that they are receiving. Operations are also responsible for recruiting students to attend the open days and the freshers fair. The fourth group of the team is the information technology team. Flatthall depends on IT in order to do business. Students use the photographs, videos, and virtual tours on Flatthall's website to evaluate the different buildings that are located within travelling distance of the institution where they plan to study. The IT staff must ensure that the company's website is up to date and available at all times, otherwise Flatthall could lose business. Once students have chosen a building, then all business is conducted online, including the provision of a contract and payment of rent. Flatthall's IT staff work hard to ensure that the company's systems are available at all times and are secure. IT also monitors social media, looking for posts relative to Flatthall. It is important for the company to be aware of any negative comments that are posted online because this could discourage future rentals, even if the criticisms are unfounded. And the next team is the finance team. This is our team. This is where we work. The finance managers Flatthall's bookkeeping, accounting, and treasury activities. One important role is the collection of student rents. Students pay monthly in advance for their rooms. Finance collects all payments in automated direct debits from students' bank accounts. This involves some credit control activities when collections fail due to students having insufficient funds in their accounts. Finance is also responsible for managing students' deposits. The company takes a security deposit equal to a month's rent for each student when they sign their rental agreements. That deposit is returned on departure with deductions for any loss or damage to rooms and their furnishings when occurred during student stays. Concierges conduct room inspections when students are leaving, and they inform finance of any problems that will encounter. Now, also on page 15, we have the Flatthall board structure. Of course, you're going to review this at your leisure. I'm going to read it for you just as the key points. Passan is the CFO. He's the Chief Executive Officer. I've just assumed he's a man then. I'm so sorry. He might not be a man or a lady. Sorry. Passan. We have Taisha, who is the Property Portfolio Director. Hamid is the Customer Services Director. Day is the Operations Director. Monga is the Information Technology Director. Marina is the Finance Director. Taisha is the Property Portfolio Director. She is responsible for property acquisition, construction management, and legal. Hamid is the Customer Services Director, responsible for customer relations, repairs and maintenance, liaison with universities, website and social media content. Day is the Operations Director, responsible for human resources, health and safety, property cleaning and inspections. Monga is the Information Technology Director, responsible for the system security and availability, maintaining presence on social media. And Marina is the Finance Director, responsible for the management accounting, financial reporting, and treasury. We also have some non-executive directors listed here: Per Thomas Anderson, Sahar, Andrew, Seema, and Noam. On page 16 is Flatthall's business model. Flatthall aims to grow steadily through the acquisition of new buildings that will enable it to retain the market leader in PBSA in Townland. We want to be the market leader, remain being the market leader. A commitment to equality ensures Flatthall to maintain a strong brand that attracts students and enables the company to develop relationships with academic institutions. And on page 17, we have the value creation model for us, for Flatthall. Let's put it on one page. We have defining value. Flatthall provides safe and attractive accommodation for students. Its properties are purpose-built for the student market. Students who rent rooms in Flatthall buildings are able to study in a relaxed environment. Creating value. Flatthall is a proactive in an Flatthall, excuse me, I'm so sorry. The creating value piece. Flatthall is proactive in identifying potential sites for new properties and in addressing locations in which demand for student accommodation is not being met. The company has considerable considerable expertise in the acquisition of suitable sites and in the construction of good quality buildings. The way we deliver value and delivering value. Flatthall develops strong relationships that underpin commercial success. The company works closely with colleagues and university accommodation services to ensure that they are willing to recommend Flatthall to students in need of accommodation. A large proportion of Flatthall's residents return in subsequent years of study and recommend Flatthall to friends. Then the next value is capturing residual value and how we can capture residual value. Students are prepared to pay realistic rents for accommodation in Flatthall properties because their rooms are well proportioned and comfortable, and they are provided with all the facilities that they require to support their studies and social activities. On page 18, we start with our Flatthall's annual reports. So you can see on the screen, we have our consolidated statement of profit and loss, or a P&L statement, or an income statement. Please review these statements at your leisure. Please know your numbers. I will read them on the screen for you, but you will have to do some more work as well. We have for the year 2022, our revenue was 635.9. Our cost of revenues was 89. Our gross profit was 546.9. Operating expenses 89, leaving us with an operating profit in 2022 of 457.9. We had finance costs of 176, leaving us with a profit before tax in 2022 of 281.9. We paid tax of 33.8, leaving us with a profit for the year in 2022 of 248.1. In 2023, our revenue was 735.1. Our cost of revenues was 119.5. Our gross profit for 2023 was 615.6. Our operating expenses went down to 54.8, and our operating profit for 2023 was 560.8. Our finance costs were 224. Our profit before tax for 2023 was 336.8. Tax we paid in 2023 was 40.4, and the profit for the year for 2023 was 296.4. So my summary that I'm going to help you and take you away from is revenue in 22 was 635, revenue in 23 was 735. Profit for the year for 22 was 248, profit for the year for 23 was 296. A lot more to do with these numbers for sure, but here they are on page 18 for us to have a little start with, right? So we have our consolidated statement of profit and loss. We also have a consolidated statement of changes in equity. I'm not going to read these numbers to you, but you can see on the screen that there is a profit for the year in 23, and there is a dividend paid out of the year of around 30% roughly. Familiarise yourself with these numbers at your leisure. On page 19, we have our consolidated statement of financial position, or the balance sheet. You can see we have intangible assets. We have some tiny inventory. We have cash in the bank. They are our assets. As our liabilities, we have a loan that is increased in the year. And we have trade and other payables, which includes student deposits and advanced rentals. On page 20, we have an extract from Duvet's annual report. That is our second biggest competitor. We are the market leaders, but Duvet is the second market position. So Duvet is a direct competitor of Flatthall, with PBSA blocks in most of the towns and cities in which Flatthall operates. We have a P&L statement for Duvet for 2022 and 2023. Again, they have smaller revenue than us and a smaller profit, but still the second largest. Please review this at your leisure. Again, I'm not going to read this because it's not as important as ours, Flatthall's, but we have a P&L. Oh my God, I've forgotten one key point I needed to say out loud. I'm so sorry. But this is for the year end. Our year end and our competitors' year end is 31st of August. That's a key point. I've written that like in red in my notes. So we have for the year ended 31st of August. That is our year end. Okay. That is Duvet's as well, but that is also ours of Flatthall's. Also on page 20, we have Duvet's consolidated statement of changes in equity. That's easy to say. They have also made a profit for the year, and they've also paid a dividend out as well. On page 21, we have Duvet's consolidated statement of financial position or balance sheet. You can see that they have a very similar balance sheet to us. Please review these numbers at your leisure. And then from page, okay, we're on page 22. We're near the end, guys. Keep going. We have the news reports and articles. So I'm actually not going to read you these because I want you to absorb them in a slightly different way. I'll put some videos out there for how to do this, but please read these articles. Make some brainstorm notes to what's important about this article. If this theme or question came up, then what would you do, think and say as a finance manager at Flatthall? What would it mean for us? But there are some news reports which are very, very important to an unseen and a management case study question. That's all I'm saying. Okay. So the first one on page 22 is from the Townland Daily Informer. It's about university grades and uptake of university students. On page 23, we have a news article from Townland Daily News around a car and a family investing in a new car to take their student daughter to and from university. Page 24 is another article from Townland Daily News. And it's about remodeling your home. So nothing directly related to us specifically or our building, but there must be something to do with our property portfolio team in there. That's my little thing for the day. And page 25, we have some extracts from Jess the students blog. Again, just kind of having two-way conversations with our students, giving us a little bit of student insight, some problems, some concerns, some reasonings. So soak these up, okay? And there's a couple of articles in there that they've picked out, 4 or 5, I think, for 4 specific reasons, I'm sure, right? That's your pre-scene reading, guys. Apologies for any grammatical errors or if I pronounce something really wrong. Clearly there's some words I can't say very well, but I'm no professional reader, but I wanted to put together this video to really help and support you so that you can watch it again and again. I know my students watch it a number of times just to really just soak in the pre-scene once a week, to understand what's going on and what to focus on, to help them with their brainstorming and just to help them learn and listen in a different way. Reading the pre-scene, we know, will take us at least half an hour. And I know this video is a little bit long, but I did want to read it for you properly, word for word, on purpose. I don't want to distract you from what's actually going on. You need to learn it properly first, then we can learn how to brainstorm it, right? So I hope you have enjoyed this video. Like I said, it was a basic reading just a basic reading of the pre-scene. But I am giving a lot of extra analysis over on my LinkedIn channel, and you will be able to find my management case study specific course if you want to help me teach you how to analyze the pre-scene, how to think like a finance manager, what we're going to do about all the things that Flatthall, we are doing, how to think as a Flatthall finance manager, what risks, opportunities, threats, value we can create as a finance manager conversation for our management case study script. So I'd love to help and coach you with that. Feel free to click on the link in the comments to see all of that analysis, to grab hold of your space on my new management case study course, how to get into management case study mode. And I look forward to coaching you, helping you and supporting you. If you have any questions at all, please send me a DM on LinkedIn or leave a comment here below this video, and I'm here to help and support you. Good luck for your May or August 2024 management case study exam, and I hope to speak to you soon. Thanks, guys.